If I asked you where you think America's first stretch of freeway was built, where would you say? New York, Massachusetts, Virginia maybe? Well, it's actually none of the above. America's first freeway is located here in Los Angeles, California, and it's still around today, with many of its original concrete and characteristics that make it not only the first, but most unique freeway in the United States. Known both as the Arroyo Seco Parkway, California Highway 110, or locally just as the 110, the road connects Los Angeles with Pasadena alongside the Arroyo Seco seasonal river, and is technically, at least for most of its length, part of historic Route 66, as it connects with Sunset Boulevard through Echo Park. In their heyday, Pasadena and Echo Park were two of the most influential parts of Greater LA, which is still very obvious while strolling through the Victorian home-lined suburban streets. And back in the early 20th century, a way to connect these two places was in high demand. But when the city began construction on the freeway in the early 1940s, it represented more than a monumental transitional phase between early parkways and later freeways. It represented a beginning of a concrete boom, for better and for worse. So let's learn a bit more about it. Planning for the Parkway began all the way back in 1895, where the area that the Parkway now sits on was first surveyed. The Parkway runs along its namesake Arroyo Seco, meaning dry gulch or streambed in Spanish. The Arroyo Seco is an intermittent stream that carries rainfall from the San Gabriel Mountains southerly through western Pasadena into the Los Angeles River near downtown LA. Prior to the 20th century, during the dry season, the Arroyo Seco served as a faster wagon connection between the two cities than the all-weather road on the present Huntington Drive. The first known survey for a permanent roadway through the Arroyo was made by T.D. Allen of Pasadena in 1895, and in 1897, two formal proposals were made, one for a scenic parkway and the other for a commuter cycleway. And it was actually the cycleway that was funded and built first. The cycleway was partially constructed and opened by Horace Dobbins, who incorporated the California Cycleway Company and bought a 6-mile right-of-way from downtown Pasadena to Avenue 54 in Highland Park, a historic neighborhood between downtown LA and Pasadena. The elevated wooden cycleway was officially opened on January 1st, 1900, starting near Pasadena's Hotel Green and ending near the Raymond Hotel. The majority of its route is now known as the present-day Edmondson Alley. No such structure remains, however. Due to the end of the bicycle craze of the 1890s and the existing Pacific Electric Railway lines connecting Pasadena to Los Angeles, the cycleway did not and was not expected to turn a profit, and never extended beyond the Raymond Hotel into Arroyo Seco. In the early 20th century, plans for the Arroyo Seco area were influenced by the increasing prominence of automobiles. Differing opinions arose regarding the purpose of development, with some emphasizing a proposed park aspect aligned with the City Beautiful movement, and others, notably supported by the Automobile Club of Southern California, also known as the ACSC, focused on creating a fast roadway connecting the two cities. Pasadena city engineer Harvey W. Hinks proposed a plan in 1916, backed by the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce and the ACSC, diverting the Arroyo Seco to better serve downtown Pasadena. After over a decade of the city leaders mulling over just what exactly the space should be used for, by the mid-1930s, priorities shifted from a recreational parkway to a freeway, with commuter needs at the forefront. Starting in the 1930s, Los Angeles acquired properties, leading to concerns among residents of Highland Park and objections from merchants on North Figueroa Street. These residents were afraid of their businesses being bypassed or even bulldozed for a project that, to them, had never even been done before. There were many unanswered questions about what building a massive road would do to these small, mostly powerless communities, but the city pressed on. In 1935, a bill was introduced into the California legislature to add the route to a state highway system, resulting in the creation of Route 205, which would later become known as the Arroyo Seco Parkway. The freeway was first built with two 11-foot lanes and one 10-foot shoulder in each direction, with the wider inside passing lanes paved in black asphalt concrete and lanes outside paved in white cement concrete. The differently colored lanes would encourage drivers to stay in their lanes. By mid-1939, the state had decided to replace the shoulders with additional travel lanes for increased capacity, except on a short piece in South Pasadena. The engineers used a design speed of 45 miles per hour. However, in the present day, the road is now posted at 55 miles per hour. Wow, you know inflation is bad when even the roads are getting hit. Bad jokes aside, despite a quadrupling of traffic volumes, the original roadway north of the Los Angeles River largely remains today as it was when it opened in 1940. Trucks and buses were banned in 1943, though the bus restriction has been since dropped, but this has kept kept the freeway in good condition and relatively safe despite its outdated design. This design, state-of-the-art when built, includes tight right-in and right-out access with a recommended exit speed of 5 miles per hour and stop signs on the entrance ramps. There are no acceleration or deceleration lanes. While the curves are banked for higher speeds, they were designed at half the modern standard. Now, driving on the Parkway today, you can see a clear difference between it and other California state highways in the LA metro area, especially when driving on and off the freeway. Expecting drivers entering the freeway to go from 0 to 55 with cars flying by at anywhere from 55 to 75 miles per hour has certainly been interesting, from an implementation standpoint at least. Here's footage of me driving on the Arroyo Seco Parkway, captured by my passenger. Driving on this road sort of feels like you're playing Mario Kart in real life. High speeds coupled with so many twists and turns, beautiful scenery, tight turns wrapping around the infamous LA hills. You'll feel like you're driving through Connecticut or Long Island. Here, near the Dodger Stadium exit, you'll pass through the Figueroa Street tunnels, an iconic section of the freeway. The tunnels were designed by engineer Merrill Butler, who was responsible for many iconic LA river bridges, notably the 6th Street Viaduct and the Glendale Hyperion Bridge. The tunnels feature Art Deco patterns, ornamental street lamps, and at one point, reflective tiling. And above all 8 openings, a stylized seal of the city of Los Angeles. Driving through the tunnels is just as whimsical and thrilling as driving on the open portions of the freeway, if not more so. And I feel like these aspects are so often looked over and taken for granted by those who choose to define LA by its less than desirable qualities. Los Angeles is home to so many brilliant and thoughtful artists and engineers, and has been for over a century. The buildings, the bridges, the tunnels, and even the roads we drive on throughout the city have so much art and history bleeding out from them. Northeast LA, where the Parkway mainly passes through, has gone through so much change in the past 100 years, and I hope to explore it more in detail in future videos. Okay, so we've been over why and how the freeway was built, and what it looks like, as well as what makes it special from a vehicular traffic standpoint. But what about pedestrians and cyclists? You may be thinking, well, it's a freeway. The point is for bikes and pedestrians to stay off and to never dare to step foot on that precious concrete and asphalt. But that wouldn't exactly be the full picture. Beginning in October 2003, the city of Los Angeles, in partnership with the city of Pasadena, launched Arroyo Fest, an event in which the freeway shuts down vehicle access and is only accessible by cyclists, runners, walkers, strollers, and skateboarders. When Robert Gottlieb, a professor at Occidental College, originally approached the city transportation agencies with the idea for Arroyo Fest, he said, quote, "They were bemused. They couldn't really believe that we wanted to do an event like that. You don't close down the freeway for an event like that unless you're a big Hollywood studio," end quote. It took organizers more than 2 years to convince Caltrans, quote, that this would be a breakthrough event in terms of rethinking and re-envisioning what it meant to do transportation differently and to make the Southern California region a more bikeable and walkable place, end quote. During the event, the various parks and green spaces host community events featuring a variety of live performing artists, exhibition booths, and much, much more. The history of the Arroyo Seco Parkway is very much ongoing, as today it provides a very crucial artery connecting the greater LA area, as was envisioned back in the 1920s. But in the present day, it's much more than that. It can offer travelers a way to step back in time, if only just for a few minutes. It's an art showcase. It sparks a childlike wonder with its video game-like layout. It can be a place for community gathering, at least once a year. If America's first freeway can do nothing else, it can teach us not to take advantage of the mundane things around us, the things often overlooked and taken for granted, because those may just be some of the most exciting things just waiting to be explored. You just won't know until you explore them. I'll see you all next week on Town, City, State.